This. Somehow Ricky's phone is messed up. We tried to call him, the number ricocheted, and I said, yeah, Ricky Stromberg, please. The guy says, who? I said, Ricky. He goes, you act like you know me. Stromberg, please? Oh, you got the wrong number.
Oh, we left out that detail.
No, yeah. So then Martin caught it that something was wrong. So he called the agent to get the other number, and so it was the dad's number. So Martin called the dad, and that's how we got to talk to Ricky.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Some random guy walks in and fires the dude.
Yeah, that would be classic. No, then Eric actually got him on FaceTime.
That kid was fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, kid was
yeah,
excited. He had a really good visit. He really did.
Yeah, he
Martin
did.
spent. I think Martin spent the most time with them.
Yeah, awesome young man. Awesome young man. And we had several really good 30 visits this year. I mean, more than usual of outstanding young guys that would really fit here. So.
That's awesome.
I'll rewind to the second round. First two defensive backs. How much was that a point of discussion in terms of doing that?
Well, I'll say it was a big point of discussion. And a lot of because of the fit for us. They're very very highly rated on our board. First of all, to begin with, but then secondly, the fit. And so when we got to that point and we're looking at what the options were, we really felt we could solidify that depth that we need in the secondary and actually have a guy that's also going to come in and compete to start at nickel, and gives us some safety value as well.
Can you just talk to how you see him fitting in? And it seems like he offers a pretty good flex back there.
Yes, very flexible guy, position flex. He can play free safety. He can play nickel. He can probably play a little bit outside corner. Guy's been a very productive guy in college, and they had a really strong secondary, and he was a big part of it there. So we're excited about him. I spent some time with him when he came for a 30 visit as well. He's from Florida. We talked about Fort Myers, and some pretty good DBs came out of there. Mm-hmm. One guy you guys know for sure, Deion Sanders, came out of there. So we talked about Prime a little bit, and I'm excited to have him join us. Another guy that's going to fit in really well in that room too.
Yeah, and to Martin's point, he does have some position flex. He did end up having to play corner. I think was it the Michigan game?
Yeah, I forget which game it was. He played outside corner.
He played
yeah.
corner. So the guy's shown that he can do all those things, and he has more than just a safety skill set. And he can come down and play corner for you or the nickel for you.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like about Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky, man, it's big, smart, tough. 4-year starter in the SEC. He won the award, I think the Jacobs Award for the best blocking offensive lineman in the SEC last year. We had a really great visit. Another very, very highly football intelligent guy. We talked a lot of ball, watched some tape together. He's going to fit in really well here. He can play center. He can play guard as well, I think. So he brings a lot to the table.
Do you know yet who will be his positional coach? Is that still being worked on?
No, well, I mean, this is where we're actually had to put a lot of things on hold until we find out what the new ownership is. But Travell Wharton's going to be the offensive line coach. And we're restructuring the coaching staff. What Eric has is he has a template of how he sees things. And so we move some guys around. Some guys some of their duties will be expanded. And then some of the younger guys are going to will take over the leads. But everybody that you guys see around there, all the coaches, they're all involved in everything that they're doing on the offensive side. He's taken some of the senior coaches and put them over a couple of positions where they're kind of in a supervisor position. And what it does is it kind of takes the experienced guys and put them in positions to help the younger guys continue to grow and develop. And it's something that I believe is a little bit of what Andy did in Kansas City, and I think he'd be really like that structure, and he's kind of set that up. We just haven't been able to do everything that we wanted to do, and be able to completely do it. So just so you guys know, I'll give you a little preview on that. But it's coming once everything gets settled.
With the two new defensive backs, obviously you'll have this whole offseason to try them out on the field and see what works best. But you obviously have some plan. What does their addition mean for some of the guys who are already here?
Well, it just means you got some more guys to come in and be part of what we're doing, and it'll create some competition for guys, to get on the field and play, and that's the way it's going to be. We're looking at trying to create as much competition across the board. because we know that one thing for sure is, when guys are competing, guys are getting better. And that's something that we most certainly are going to push and stress.
Guys you picked tonight, if you look at the salary cap situation, you guys have to make some moves at some point. Could be an easy line to say, what does this mean for Kendall perhaps? What does it mean for Chase Rouillet? Is there anything there at this point to discuss?
It's way too early to discuss all that stuff. I mean, we guys are here, they're working out, they're working hard. This is how the draft has fallen for us. This is, the things that we feel we need going forward as a football team.
Last night we were asking who would be the slot corner after Forbes and how that might affect Fuller and St. Juste. Just wondering, how much does having Martin now provide clarity for that spot and just kind of the nature of the draft, having another position settled?
Well, I mean, it's a great question because, one of the things that we talked about is, in the Buffalo package or our sub package, you can do it a couple of ways. You can do it using 3 safeties. You can do it using 3 corners. And what Jartavius or Quan gives us is an opportunity to use it really with kind of a hybrid guy. I mean, that's really what he is. We listed him as a safety / nickel, and he's a guy that has that kind of ability and flexibility for you. We played sub last year. I think it was almost 60% of the time, but it was a different type of sub package, whether it be sub with 3 safeties or sub with 3 corners. So we have a lot of flexibility right now to do things.
And then all 3 guys have kind of mentioned how their visits here really made an impact on them. Is that just the nature of visits in general, or is there something that specifically you guys try to do to make that special for them?
Well, I like to hope it's something that we do, and what we try to do is we get everybody involved. One of the things that we do is a little bit different too. We have everybody from our interns to all our coaches give some sort of report. And so when an intern picks you up at the airport and takes you to the hotel, he's going to write down how you treat him. We want to be very deliberate in everything we're doing, and we're trying to gather as much information. And so we want these guys to feel welcome. We want the guys to understand, what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. When they come in to eat, we're not taking them out to a restaurant for breakfast. We're bringing them here into the facility. They're eating downstairs. They're seeing all of our people around. We have people from the different departments. Our cafeteria is open to everybody that works here. So it doesn't matter who the employee is. They're downstairs, and they're going to interact with those people. And how they treat those people are important to us as well, right, Martin? I'd like to say that.
No question.
And just know that that's what we're doing. And then, when Martin's guys, the interns take them out or take them to dinner. That's one place that is different. They do take them out to a nice restaurant, an opportunity to get to know them a little bit, and we get a written report. We get a little, hey, this guy was great. He was a lot of fun to talk with. And a little something about his family. They write it in there. A little something about their character, the way they act. I mean, all these things are very intentional, and we are trying to just gather information. And at the same time, we're trying to let them see what kind of environment they're coming into.
Where do those reports go, and how do you synthesize that information with the tape and all of the other components about them on the field?
We talk about basically, formula, fit, and skill set. What's our formula for everything we do? What type of culture do we have? Will that person fit in that culture? What type of offense are we going to run? How are they going to fit in that offense? What's their skill set for the position? Does their skill set fit what we need for that position? So we try to put all that together, and when we talk about their character, that's important. It is, because again, you don't want to have to worry about guys getting in trouble. You want to make sure and understand that, meeting starts at 8 o'clock. They're in here at 7:55, 56, 57, sitting down and getting ready to go. So you don't want to have to worry about those things. That's why it's important to get all this kind of information.
Mm-hmm.
How does Ricky fit into the specific type of offense that you guys want to run, and will he compete for the starting center job right away?
Well, Ricky's going to compete. He has some position flex. He played guard as well. So he's a guy that we really think is going to come in and add some quality depth. and we'll see how things go. But he is a very bright, very smart guy, and I think Martin got a really good sense because, like I said, I think Martin was one of the guys who spent most of the time with him.
Mm-hmm.
What's your sense of how he fit into this specific offense?
Yeah. Well, the offense is still coming together with Eric, being new, but he's very versatile. He can play guard and center, the way Coach said, and the kid is very smart. I don't think he's going to have a hard time catching up to NFL football, NFL terminology. I think he's going to pick things up very quickly. And the guy's powerful. He's strong. He's athletic enough. I think he's going to help us pretty soon.
With Martin, when you have a guy that plays, can play all over, when you're watching on film, what are some of the key things you're looking at to make sure that that's going to translate to the NFL? That it's not just an athlete, that he can handle what he needs to up here.
Well, I think first it starts with the basics, everything from the way he sets himself up and he gets in his stance. What was really neat was I know that that defensive backfield they have was very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I know 3 of those guys all got drafted, so that was a very strong group of guys. What's interesting was watching their tape, and having to watch all of them get and write reports on them. I noticed a couple things right away. Their head coach Lovie Smith, who I worked for, Lovie's a very demanding, very direct forward coach, and you could see a lot of those little detailed things that coach expects from them, from everything from their way they get into their stance, to the way they backpedal, to the way they hinge and use those different techniques that coach was a stickler on. I got a chance to really see it from each one of those guys and how detailed they were. So to me, that was a really good thing, just having had the experience working for Coach Smith, knowing that, hey, he's a demanding guy, and yet these guys really did those things, and you can see that the things that they do are most certainly will translate to what we do.
Did you see that?
Yeah, same. Yeah, no, same. I mean, same what Coach said. You see, what I saw with them especially was a very competitive group of guys, and you did not see a lot of mental errors. All those guys played really smart football, played really sound technique. You didn't see a lot of penalties. One thing with Quan and with the other corner there, Witherspoon, both those guys actually played the deep ball well. You could see them turn their heads, find the ball, locate it, and try to make plays on the ball. Whereas a lot of times in college football, guys are playing through hands, and you see more penalties from college players in those situations and more panic. You didn't see that from those guys. They're very, very well coached.
And with going back to the center position with Stromberg and all that, but do you see Nick Gage? Could you see him going to guard, or would you rather see those guys? He's going to stay at center, and then would Stromberg compete at left guard, or do you kind of see that separate too?
I think I see a lot of it. Just let's see what we have more so than anything else right now. We know what we've got with the guys that we have that are working here. Feel really good with what we've seen. Starting on Monday will be the first chance we get to get on the field with them as coaches, and so we really get a chance to see how they're coming together. That to me will be really important. Will be what they look like on Monday more so than anything else. And then we don't get the rookies in until the following week on Thursday when they come in for rookie mini camp, which will be Friday and Saturday, and we'll do a session on Friday, a session on Saturday. They'll have the day off on Sunday, and then they'll get assimilated with the team on Monday, that following Monday. So it's going to be a good time to get an opportunity to really get our hands on these young guys, see who they are, and then we can kind of figure out where it's best to start them off.
You guys have had some opportunities to look at quarterbacks here in this draft. Obviously, have not done that. Is that a priority for tomorrow, or are you comfortable with that?
Well, talking to Martin earlier, we decided we're not going to tell you who we're going to look at. Okay. But yeah, I mean, we're taking into consideration all the positions, and again, it'll be something that we most certainly will talk about as we get into each round. And again, because being where we are, we'll end up having to react to what happens in front of us.
With Ricky Stromberg, has that ever happened to you before, where you've tried to call a draft pick and you haven't been able to get a hold of him and that wrong number?
I actually called when I was in Carolina. I wish I could remember the player's name, but his mom picked the phone up, and I asked for her son, and she started talking to me, and she goes, "Oh, and you are?" And I said, "Oh, I'm Coach Rivera." She goes, "Oh, this must be important." Oh, I wish I could remember. And then so she gave the phone to the son, and I talked to him real quick, and we ended up drafting him. It was in the 7th round. I think it was I think it was 2012. I think it was the year. Trying to remember which one it was.
I actually had one too, Amir Abdullah. We drafted him second or third round, I can't remember, but couldn't get him on the phone. We're calling, no Amir. He's actually on the phone with the team that's picking behind us because they were telling him they were going to draft him. And I called his brother who was representing him at the time, and I got his brother on the phone, and that's how I was able to pry Amir away from the other team to let him know we had actually drafted him. So yeah, so I've been through that before. So when I saw Coach the first thing I did was call the agent, and we got the dad on the phone, and the dad handed the kid the phone. So yeah.
Were they just like numbers transposed, or like how did you?
No, it was because his phone, it was a new phone, and he was having trouble with whatever. And somehow it just clicked it over to some other number, random. And so, like I said, I was talking to somebody, and
It's like a bad time to get a new phone.
Yeah, you think?
Can I just clarify real quick, whenever the Travell thing sorts out, will he have the title of
offensive line coach, yes. But just so you guys know, it's not official yet because we still have to go through the whole process. And once everything's done, I'll be able to get all that stuff mapped out and hopefully taken care of. Okay?
All right.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.